Welcome to My Conversation, a presentation of KAIL-TV My Central Valley. So let's get My Conversation started.
Welcome to My Conversation on My Central Valley with your host, Feather the Wise, for the day. Honored once again back to be here. We got two great guests for you today. We're going to get this thing started. Our first guest, if you could put your hands together with our studio audience, Mr. Michael Braa from Atlantis.
Feather, thanks for having me on, man.
Now, when I first saw the cards and they told me we have a detective, I didn't know if I was in trouble or we had a case. Now, how long have you been in the detective field?
As a detective, I've been working for about 10 years. I started doing this around 2008. I got my license to do it. I worked as an intern first, then I got my license in 2010.
Okay, you say you worked as an intern first. I didn't even know.
Everybody has to. You have to have, before they give you a license, you have to put some hours out in the field.
Okay. Now, detective, what exactly do you do?
Well, that's what the job's so interesting.
On that, what exactly do? Because I know police work, but then what's the difference?
A lot of it's very much like that. Almost everything is involved in the legal field, either working on criminal cases, working on cases involving like personal injury. We have a civil suit, a lot of family law. And then missing persons comes up. It's just the kind of things that you'd imagine a detective does. What you see on TV, same stuff.
See, that's what first thing I think of detectives. I'm thinking he got a guy for the intel. He driving in an old car. You got a brim and a parrot. That's what I know about detectives.
And all those things are true, and all of them are great. But there's the one catch that nobody tells you about.
I'm listening.
It's surveillance. That's where you have to park out in a car for 6 or 8 hours and do nothing.
So that explains why they found my car to repo it right there. Surveillance. Now,
yeah.
You get hired. I assume you get hired for several different cases, as you said. Now, what's one of the craziest things you've been hired for? Craziest
thing I've been hired for? That's a tough one.
Yeah.
That's a tough one because there's a variety of cases. I can tell you this though. As far as the most interesting cases, it's always the bail recovery. In addition to doing the work where I'm trying to find somebody or I'm looking for assets, we have the bail recovery cases. These are people who failed to show up for court, posted bond. And so the court revokes their bond and they send detectives out to catch them. These are the ones that are always fun. These are the fun.
I see that smile when you say fun.
Yeah.
I'm assuming
it involves tasers, people running. But recently, yeah, I love the taser. But recently, me and my partner were out grabbing a guy on a misdemeanor warrant. I mean, a really small thing. He was in no trouble at all. But we went to the front door, banged on the door. His wife comes out. She talks to us a little bit, but we knew there was something up. She wouldn't let us look inside, and I could hear some rumbling in the back. And so my partner says, go around to the back. And as I'm walking around to the back, I can hear some scrambling. This guy jumped out the back window. I didn't see him. I didn't see him going. But I yelled to my partner, and I came back to check on my partner, and I kid you not, my partner comes walking around the corner with this guy in handcuffs and a towel around his waist. He had gone out the back window buck naked, jumped into a closet.
Sometimes you gotta get away. You don't get time to get trapped.
So I tell you, sometimes it's just a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
I don't usually go out with my towel around my waist, but I can relate to the guy in the towel. Now, okay, so this is really like as you see in the movie, somebody's jumping out trying to get away, and you on foot patrol.
Yeah.
I'm not assuming. How many times do you have to actually chase somebody down?
I don't like to chase. I really don't like to chase. And I've come to the point in my life where I really don't want to run anymore.
I'm with you.
And so I try not to get into those situations by either talking them down, telling them it's not as bad as they really think. And I've always got my friend with a taser. So I've only had a couple guys run, but I'm not chasing anymore. I'm not doing any more chasing.
And see, I'm sitting and I'm listening. One thing I kind of see. I don't know if you guys can see it. You might want to do that to your TV so you can zoom in. Whenever he says taser, there's a twinkle in his eye. It's something. I noticed that. Now, how far in proximity does your taser reach?
I'm not going to tell you that.
Look at see, I'm just checking just in case we argue over domino.
Yeah, I knew that question was coming too, Feather.
Okay, now along with the taser, what are some of the other things that you have in your?
Really, the best thing is just being able to talk to people.
Right.
The detective that I work with, Jeff Pierce, is my partner. He's very, very good at just talking people down. I would say 95% of the time We'll talk the person, sometimes right into our own office, and take them into custody there. So
Okay.
that's really the key to the job, is being able to talk to people, because we don't want to chase people. We don't want to tase them.
Yeah, you know, it's like jumper cables. It's cool. Just a little energizer to start your day.
But I want you to know too, 98% of my job doesn't involve a taser. There's other things I do.
Look, you gotta see the twinkle in this man's eye when he talks about. Now, as far as like, what do you say? You serve the Greater Central Valley, or is it just Fresno?
It turns out to be Fresno and Visalia where I get most of my cases from. I mean,
Okay.
I've worked as far north as Sacramento. I've done some work over in the Bay Area, but primarily it's Fresno and Tulare County. The part of the work that I do is for, I can't give names of anything, it's stuff's
Right,
confidential, but there's major insurance companies. So we do cases that involve insurance fraud, and those tend to have some travel involved with them. But to give you an example, maybe people who have doctors that have unlawfully billed Medicare is an example.
Unlawfully billed.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and we need to look into that. And we also do stage directs auto insurance. Sometimes people will get together and they'll stage an auto accident, and there's actually rings that operate this way, so they can submit claims, and we'll look into those cases as well. Yeah.
We're going to have to follow up on that staging auto accidents. We're going to get some more with that. We're going to go to a short break, but we'll be right back with Michael Braa from Atlantis Detective Agency. Welcome back to my conversation with our guest, Michael Braa. Now, when we left, you were describing, you had mentioned something about staging accidents. Now,
Yes.
I didn't even know people actually did that. So in staging an accident, what exactly are you referring to?
It's actually quite an enterprise.
Wow.
There are rings that usually involves an auto body shop,
Okay.
an insurance agent, and they get people to fake accidents. And when I say fake accident, I mean the cars actually collide. But what they'll do is they'll take a car and they'll fill it with people and have it rear-ended by another car, and then
Okay.
everybody makes claims. Some of the more dangerous ones that happen, they'll actually stage it so that an innocent bystander gets involved, such as they'll do what we refer to as a break-in or a cut-in, where a car will cut in front of another car, causing it to slam on its brakes, while the staged guy will run into the back of them.
Okay.
So it can be dangerous at times. Now, a lot of those tend to be down in the Los Angeles area, but it's just an example of the type of cases that we could have come through.
Trying to recoup the insurance money. And
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
There's a lot of insurance fraud going on. There's a lot.
Wow. Now, what do you get the calls for the most? I mean, on a regular basis.
Calls from the public are generally for family law.
Okay.
We have contracts with the county, we have contracts with the insurance companies, but when the phone rings, most times it's a family law case. It could be anything from somebody needing to find a person to serve them.
Okay.
'Cause sometimes, especially fathers around this area, they abscond and nobody knows how to get a hold of them to pay child support, and so they'll
By
come
the
to
way,
us.
my name is Bartholomew Jenkins. I am not feathered wise. In case. Just in case. No, and that's get that child support, and I was like, yes, I am
That
Dominican.
makes everybody tense up.
No, I have. Now, but they actually run from being served child support papers?
Oh yeah, that's a lot. Sure.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you.
Just from here, you've been served. I'm not touching that, man.
Well, a lot of times they've run before then, so we have to go find them.
You haven't tased anybody for serving, have
I
you?
have never tased anybody in connection with a child support case. I've never even thought about doing that.
That'd be fun. Like, hey, take this. No, now you have to.
But thanks for putting that in my head.
Trying to help. Trying to help. Now, within the journey of being a detective, how did you make the? How did you originally get into it?
I was actually a lawyer before I was a detective. Anybody who remembers me from 15, 20 years ago, that's how they knew me, is because I was practicing law. And about 10 years ago, I ran into some trouble and I actually lost my license to practice law. And in that journey back, you lose your license for 5 years, and there's a path back to getting it.
Okay.
And on my path back, I started working as a private investigator. And I found as I was doing this 3 things. Number 1, I was sleeping like a baby at night.
Wow.
Number 2, I enjoyed what I was doing.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
There is a difference.
And number three, I was pretty good at it. And so I kind of abandoned the path back to being a lawyer and turned this into my business. And over the last 4 or 5 years, I've built to a fairly successful business. I've been doing really well.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned you were doing a private investigator. Is that different from detective?
They're one and the same. It's just private investigator, private detective,
Okay.
PI.
I don't know if there was something that passed.
Just don't call me that 4-letter word, man. I don't like that one.
Yeah, I'm not, sir. Messing around and get tased live right here on my conversation. They're like, does he have seizures? No, he tased me on that. Now,
Come on, Feather.
my mind is going there, but there's so many questions. Now, you mentioned something about enjoying your work.
Yeah.
What do you enjoy most about the field of private detective?
It's interesting work to me, figuring things out, solving things, working through problems. I like the success in it. To me, it's more of a job where I can produce something to a client that's satisfactory, that's satisfying. Right. As a lawyer, you don't always have that option. Okay. Sometimes the best result isn't very good. But in this, I was able to develop a model of work where I could provide a superior product at a reasonable price. And when you do that, it makes you feel good, it makes your customers feel good, and it's a formula for a very successful business. And I'm really happy with what I do.
I noticed you said that reasonable price. Everybody likes a deal. They don't want to go broke trying to get something done. That's awesome. Now, how would they reach you? Is it like they throw a signal in the sky? You got to know a guy, Bobby? Is it like you got to?
I like the signal. Just put a bat and fire it up. The best way to get me is just to Google private investigator in Fresno. I usually come out right in top. You'll see Michael W. Braa, California licensed private investigator, CLPI, right at the top. But you can go to my website. It's www.atlantisinvestigations.com. Or by telephone, 478-8220, 559-478-8220. Got it?
The number, once again, is 559-428.
478.
That is, it's so many questions. Number one, do you have a parrot? That was just for some off-camera insights.
I have a Dalmatian.
That's all right. That's all right. Now, I know you're probably working on several cases right now. Or is it, do you carry several cases, or you do one at a time?
Several cases. And a couple of them are high profile. I can't talk about who the clients are.
Not to put anybody's name out there. But now, what is something like right now? Is it seasonal? Like different things change seasonally, or like are there certain things that only occur like in the cold times or coming into the?
I have talked with investigators about this for years, and nobody understands the ebb and flow. It just gets busy sometimes, and then it gets slow sometimes, and you have to learn how to manage through both of them. Like right now, it's busy, but last year at this time, it wasn't. And no one has been able to give me an answer. I haven't seen any pattern in it. It just kind of happens.
I don't know if like certain crimes occur during certain time, like the winter, to make you moody, if you get hot and you're doing everything going crazy.
Well, when I was practicing law, I could see that because right around Thanksgiving time, all the family law cases would come in. And then right after the New Year, all the DUIs would come in. But not in this profession.
Well, not today. I'm going to walk home. Okay, so hey, thank you so much for being a guest. It's Michael Braa. You can check him out at Atlantis Detective Agency. Appreciate you being on our show. Give a round of applause for Michael Braa.
Thanks, Feather, man. I appreciate it.
Much.
That was great.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.